Viewers, who could have thought it? But Prime Minister Modi's decision to spend a morning on the powdery white sands of Lakshadweep or then glide gracefully over its coral reefs has triggered a diplomatic incident with the Maldives. And worse, sparked needless domestic political frisson. Within hours of the Prime Minister tweeting pictures of his Lakshadweep break and urging Indians to visit the sun-kissed, palm-fringed paradise, Maldivian ministers and citizens alike have suffered a massive meltdown. PM Modi never referred to the Maldives in his tweet. So it is even more mystifying that these ministers of the realm in the Maldives basically turned blue in the face. Let me acquaint you with what the Prime Minister said. He said, recently I had the opportunity to be among the people of Lakshadweep. I am still in awe of the stunning beauty of its islands and the incredible warmth of its people. Our focus in Lakshadweep is to uplift lives through enhanced development. In addition to creating futuristic infrastructure, it is also about creating opportunities for better healthcare, faster internet and drinking water, while protecting all celebrating the vibrant local culture. In addition to the scenic beauty, Lakshadweep's tranquility is also mesmerizing. It gave me an opportunity to reflect on how to work even harder for the welfare of 140 crore Indians. For those who wish to embrace the adventurer in them, Lakshadweep has to be on your list. During my stay, I also tried snorkeling. What an exhilarating experience it was, and those early morning walks along the pristine beaches were also moments of pure bliss. Lakshadweep is not just a group of islands, it's a timely legacy of traditions and a testament to the spirit of its people. My visit has been an enriching journey, our learning and growing. Viewers, the reason I have painstakingly read out his entire tweet from A to Z is because I want to belabor the point that at no place has the Prime Minister referred to the Maldives. He's only talked about Lakshadweep. But viewers, that hasn't stopped at least 3 Maldivian ministers from unleashing a totally unprovoked and highly objectionable barrage of Hindu-phobic and racist stereotypes at Indians. These Maldivian ministers and their supporters also specifically trolled Prime Minister Modi. The mystifying meltdown is but an expression of extreme insecurity. Maldivians, it is being said, are jittery about any competition in their patch of the Indian Ocean, especially from the Indian Union territory of Lakshadweep, which rivals Maldives in natural beauty and arguably exceeds it in cultural breadth. Viewers, sample some of this idiocy, because that's all that you can call it, that has poured out of the Maldives. Zahid Ramiz, Maldives Member of Parliament. The move is great, however, the idea of competing with us is delusional. How can they provide the service we offer? How can they be so clean? The permanent smell in the rooms will be the biggest downfall. Can you imagine, viewers? Suggesting that Indians have body odor and the smell doesn't leave the rooms, etc., etc. I mean, it's just pathetic. Mariam Shuna, suspended minister. What does she say? She says about Modi, what a clown, the puppet of Israel, Mr. Narendra, diver with a life jacket. Visit Maldives. She adds the hashtag to stress how great the Maldives are, but where is it? Another minister says India is clearly in a state of emergency and so is the opposition party. She also basically talked about cow dung and other stuff, viewers. Another minister says, while I wish success for India's tourism, targeting the Maldives so explicitly isn't diplomatic. India faces significant challenges in competing in beach tourism, considering our resort infrastructure exceeds their total islands, plus your culture of open defecation. Viewers, the Prime Minister was not undiplomatic at all. He didn't even refer to the Maldives. It's not even on his horizon. His horizon, you can see behind him, viewers, is cloudless, it is beautiful, it is pristine, and the water below is transparent, and his gaze was focused on Indian soil, on Lakshadweep. The Maldivian attack was most unwarranted and therefore unfortunate, as the Prime Minister never mentioned the Maldives anywhere in his tweets championing Lakshadweep. Angered by the attempt to belittle India, to equate it to a, quote, smelly, unquote, pit of, quote, cow dung, unquote, not to mention insult Prime Minister Modi, several Indian citizens began to cancel their planned vacations in the Maldives. Many film stars, no doubt you have read their tweets, social media influencers, netizens also began trending the hashtag Explore Indian Islands and Boycott Maldives. Here are some of those. Akshay Kumar, viewers, is one of them. He's shocked by the racist tone and tenor of the commentary that has come out of the Maldives. And he's saying that he's surprised that they're doing it to a country that sends actually the maximum number of tourists to the Maldives. He says, we're good to our neighbors. Why should we tolerate such unprovoked hate? And I agree. He goes on to appeal to all of us to try out Indian destinations. PV Sindhu, she also, viewers, talks about the beautiful, pristine and serene blue waters of Maldives. And she says she's also going to plan a visit. Vikram Sampath, historian, the beauty of Swaraj Deep, Radhanagar and Kala Patthar beaches in Andamans is breathtaking. He's saying, forget the Maldives, go to the Andaman, as he's been there. Viewers, Karthik Aaryan, another actor, Incredible India is not just a tag. Our beautiful country has some of the most incredible and stunning locales. Try them. Lakshadweep is an example of it, a heaven-like place in India itself. The impact has been a sobering one for the Maldives. Several Indian tour operators put an eye-opening number to the cancellations. It's clear the unofficial boycott can potentially sink the largely tourism-based Maldivian economy. Realizing this, Maldivian Prime Minister Muhammad Muizzu's administration in Malé jumped to issue a statement disassociating itself, viewers, from its ministers. All three grandstanding ministers have been suspended from their posts. Even so, the show of consumer activism by ordinary Indians has led to, and you won't believe this, to backbiting here in India. A section of the Indian so-called left liberal political class and intellectual class is upset. They've lashed out at the Modi government for not intervening to denounce Indian consumers for advocating a boycott of the Maldives, as if Modi has a control button on all our emotions. Viewers, if we feel insulted and we want to act in a particular way to punish those who insulted us without resorting to any sort of violence or vandalism or even abuse, what is their concern? They've also criticized what they brand as Hindutva right-wing jingoism for deepening the Muizzu administration's antipathy to India. I mean, the list, Priyanka Chaturvedi of the Sena, viewers, accusing social media influencers, film actors for influencing our diplomatic stance, saying who's in charge, ministers or the government. Lavanya Jain, Congress leader, says the destruction of Lakshadweep under Prafulla Koda Patel, the culture, the way of life, source of income and language is being wiped out by this Prime Minister as a candidate. And today he's promoting it as some sort of a destination, this, that, the other. Abhishek Singhvi says the hullabaloo of right-wing trolls over Lakshadweep versus Maldives has further pushed the close ally away. Modi ji begins the damage, Bhaks amplified, go get some wisdom. Viewers, if you stand up for your country today, you might be deemed a Bhakt. Alas, India's left liberal ecosystem is being churlish. Indian consumer activism over Maldives is not just conscientious but much needed. A whopping over 2 lakh Indian tourists, most from any nation, visited Maldives in 2023, adding crores to Malay's financial collection. Don't these well-meaning, generous Indians deserve the right to be treated with dignity? Think about it, especially when their hard-earned dollars are going towards propping up the rickety Maldivian economy. Gone are the days when Indians would silently suffer as they would be pushed around in immigration queues in much of the white world, or then when they were denied frills reserved for others by haughty stewards in cafes or on Firang Airlines. Today, as citizens of the world's best performing economy, Indians have the financial muscle to make things happen for them. This is the power of prosperity in an increasingly flat world. There's absolutely nothing wrong with demanding a little bit of gratitude. Liberals, above all, should know the power of consumer activism. Haven't they lustily championed the boycott of goods from countries that employ child labor or export resources mined from conflict zones? Liberal icon Mahatma Gandhi was the most visible advocate of boycott movement. Decades after his death, guided by Mahatma's philosophical vision, India's cricket team stopped playing with South Africa because the government of the day institutionalized racism through apartheid. Expressing moral outrage against injustice and inequality is the default mode of Indian democratic expression. Boycott Maldives continues that hoary tradition of imparting a moral lesson without disturbing the peace. It appears that in their pursuit of appeasing a vote bank and in their distaste for Modi, the Indian left liberal seems to have forgotten these facts, viewers. And these facts are appearing on your screens, even though, viewers, I'm going to now pose the most basic question. Basic question. Viewers, have any of us who have been branded smelly by the Maldivians ever resented Prime Minister Modi's government's decision to divert millions of COVID vaccine jabs to the Maldives at the height of the pandemic? Unlike China, which incidentally is the flavor of the season in Maldives thanks to its pro-Beijing ruling government, Indian public investments in Maldives don't come with any strings attached. Prime Minister Modi has, in the pursuit of putting neighborhood first, actively assisted Maldives in the development of critical infrastructure. We were the first to send them vaccines. Far from enslaving Maldivians like Chinese helped us, Indian capital has not just boosted the standard of living, but also the ease of living in Maldives. Maldives owes India and Indians much. And we are not asking for much in return except for a little bit of respect. Is that a problem? Is that a problem, viewers? No, it isn't. Let's ask that question. Is putting India up front, first, a problem? What's wrong with it? That's the fundamental question I'm asking tonight, viewers. Let's open this up for debate.
Hello, Moto.
Let's begin with Dr. Anand Ranganathan tonight. Dr. Ranganathan, I'm quite baffled. I have spent a little bit of time deliberately this evening trying to spell out a position, an argument. Hopefully, some of us are convinced. I don't expect others to jump off the fence and support what I've said, but I think I made a little bit of sense. What do you think?
Good evening, Rahul. No, you make a lot of sense as usual. Good evening to my fellow panelists as well. Look, I don't and I have never supported Chinese puppets. And for that reason, I have decided not to visit the Maldives, Pakistan, or the offices of the Communist Party of India. But to be very serious here, Rahul, there are 3 points I'd like to make. Number one, let's look at the perspective. And if I can correct you slightly, it's not just racist remarks that the Maldivian ministers have been making, although we are of the same race. They are deeply Hindu-phobic or Hindu-missic remarks. These people have gone completely overboard. And if you were to scroll the timeline of a few of those ministers, they're actually very anti-Israel. They are supporting Hamas unabashedly. They are supremacist in their nature. Hence this reason for saying that Indians are smelly and this and that. So other than the fact that, there is one thing of promoting your country, there is quite another of putting another country that is your friend, that has actually given you no strings attached 100 million aid in the last couple of years. And as you said, has given vaccines at the cost of fellow Indians who needed those vaccines, and still our Prime Minister gave those vaccines. So it's a bit like you promoting your channel, Rahul, and some other channel saying, oh, look at this guy, how dare he do this? It's ridiculous. The Prime Minister did not put down Maldives at all. I mean, what is wrong in promoting our own culture, our own area that sorely needs tourists? And let me give you the data, and this is what is quite disappointing. Maldives, in the last 1 year, roughly around 9,500 Indians have visited Maldives. I beg your pardon, Lakshadweep. Compare that to Maldives in the last 3 years. 500,000 Indians have visited Maldives. But that's not the disappointing bit. The disappointing bit is that in the last 3 years, the ruling dispensation in Maldives is blatantly anti India. In fact, they've been caught wearing these t shirts saying India out. They have these banners India out for the last 3 years. They were the opposition then, now they're the ruling government. So, 500,000 Indians have contributed precious foreign exchange to a country that is abusing us. So obviously, we also need to answer this question. Would I go to a country that hates Indians and says Indians out? I would never. Why have 500,000 Indians gone there instead of other places? But finally, this also has to be said. Yes, it's all very well, and I congratulate everyone who's promoting Lakshadweep. But you look at the comparison, 500,000 Indians have visited in the last 3 years, and only 10,000 Indians visit Lakshadweep every year. So, do we want 4.5 lakh extra Indians to crowd Lakshadweep when the facilities are clearly not there? And it would be a disaster in the making because it's an ecologically sensitive area as well. So we have to take care of our destinations. We have to prepare adequate infrastructure. This is what I'm afraid we haven't done for the last, I don't know, decades of, pluck the lowest hanging fruit, which is Indian tourism. If we do that, we also have to say, and I think Abhijit, who is a geopolitical expert here, will also, pitch in here. We should not sour our relations with Maldives, and I'm quite happy that the Maldivian government, although it is a Chinese puppet, have taken some action because Maldives is important for us strategically and geopolitically. But Abhijit will know more of that. But what I would like to say is it is absolutely reprehensible the way the Maldivian ministers acted. It is reprehensible the way our opposition acted, not in supporting Mr. Modi. And it is also, I wouldn't go as far as to say reprehensible, but quite strange that 500,000 Indians would visit a country happily that is abusing us and saying Indians out.
Let me bring in Kamru Chaudhary, who's of course affiliated with the Congress party and represents that point of view. Mr. Chaudhary, I tweeted this morning and I suddenly saw your tweet in response. You were picking holes in my argument as usual. Unfortunately, I didn't think that you were making much sense. Now, the reason I'm saying it is not because I think that what I say is the gospel or anything, but I just felt that you caught the wrong end of the stick there. I was making the case that, look, we can, of course, be very proprietorial about Lakshadweep, and we must encourage and promote, but we must also look at the reality on the ground. And you found that a bit of a problem. I don't know why. I referred to the fact that this government was trying to build infrastructure, bring in land acquisition and development laws, but you said that, oh, they're being challenged, they're trying to butcher the whole place, they're trying to, I mean, you even went to the extent, I think, of saying that there's a ban on cow slaughter, this, that, the other. And I found that weird because, pork is not served in the Maldives, as you know. That doesn't make it some sort of a exclusivist area. Neither do they serve alcohol. In fact, in one of your states, in Bihar, they don't serve alcohol either. It is prohibition. So does that make Bihar some island of exclusivism? I don't understand. So I just want to basically put out a basic question to you, Mr. Kamru Chaudhary. What's your problem? What's your problem? Do you want Modi? You're a liberal. You believe in democracy. You want now Modi to police every person on social media. You think that anyone who says India first, Lakshadweep first, even someone like Mitra here, is some sort of a reprobate who only sort of communalizes things? I mean, that's what your ministers, your spokespeople are saying from the Congress and from other parties. It's bizarre.
Rahul, you are entitled to your viewpoint. I am entitled to my
mind. You're right.
When Praful Koda Patel was appointed in 2020 as an administrator, in fact, over the last 70 years, he was the first BJP politician to be appointed as an administrator of Lakshadweep.
Right.
Now, when he went there, what he did first, a 60,000 population of Lakshadweep with 10 inhabited islands of 32 square kilometers, he proposed to set up a 1,200 crore rupees road project out there in Lakshadweep. You all know, I also know, I believe that Coral is a very fragile ecology of the Lakshadweep Islands. What are the people out there dependent on? They are a scheduled tribe guarantee, protected by the Indian Constitution. 95% of the Lakshadweep peoples are scheduled tribe. They have got their way of life, living out of fishing. You see, first he brought in the Amul milk dairy and spoiled the dairy industry of Lakshadweep. He tried to change the High Court of Lakshadweep, which was based in Kerala, to another state. He tried to change the port that was very near to Lakshadweep. He tried to change it to the BJP ruled state in Karnataka. Then he brought in the changes in the Panchayati system of Lakshadweep. He tried to change the names of schools which were kept on the first female graduate of that islands. He wanted to change it into some other names that was supposed to be. I don't see that the names he kept were wrong, but he deliberately wanted to bring in a disruption in the entire ecosystem of Lakshadweep. What does it serve? Prime Minister has gone to Lakshadweep. Very wonderful. We are proud of Lakshadweep. There cannot be any comparison as a tourist destination with Maldives and Indian tourist destinations. We do not object to that. We do not have any wrong with that. The point here is that when you just let me finish 10 seconds. When you say that I stand with Lakshadweep, can't you say this? I stand with the people of Lakshadweep also.
No,
that is the
obviously.
basic difference between your school of thought and my school of thought.
Okay.
Because you are out there to destroy the entire ecological system of Lakshadweep
Okay.
without even thinking that building 1200 crore roads in a 32 square kilometers of Lakshadweep. And what did the Congress do out there? We built Lakshadweep as a forward naval base to
Sir, please just stop
Chinese
there,
army
Mr. Chaudhary. One
and keep
second.
the- keep
You know,
the
you
US
can
army out of-
you can change all this when you elect the next Congress Prime Minister and he travels to Lakshadweep in an Indian warship with 200 chickens, kilos of meat, a lot of water. You can change it all there, sir. Like Rajiv Gandhi wanted to do. No problems with that. You can have a problem with this gentleman that you have named who's the administrator of Lakshadweep. That's all very well. But what does Dr. Abhishek Singhvi or Lavanya Jain mean when they say hullabaloo of right-wing trolls over Lakshadweep versus Maldives has further pushed the close ally away? Modi ji begins the damage, Bhaks amplified. Go get some wisdom. Why are you accusing ordinary Indians hang on. Why are you accusing ordinary Indians of being against the national interest when they are only saying that we will not tolerate Maldives showing us disrespect, our Prime Minister disrespect? What is the problem? You are a liberal. You speak up for free speech. And when people are exercising it, you troll them.
Rahul, let me just begin out here. It's a foreign policy expert sitting here. It's a foreign policy that India has failed miserably. Now, is it the Maldives which is hostile towards India? Where don't you remember the Nepal's Prime Minister Oli's statement against India? What happened to the Bangladeshis opposing India? What happened to Bhutan? What happened to the other Southeast Asian? When you
Kamru Chaudhary, forget all of that. I'm asking you a very pointed question. You're not answering my question. You have talked about the administrator, you have talked about the BJP, you have talked about Maldives, and you have tried to defend the Maldivian point of view. All very well. You're entitled to. You're a liberal, you say. Secular liberal on top of it. You say you defend democracy when people are exercising their discretion. Ordinary Indians, you are labeling them, you are showing contempt for their free speech. What kind of liberals are you?
Rahul, in your panel only, one of the panelists just now said, and I can't understand how opposing Israel's genocide is Hindu-phobic. How do you explain this? There cannot be any explanation to this because we all support Palestinian cause. But one of your
No, we don't.
panelists just now said that
But
supporting
Dr.
Israel.
Ranganathan has a right to
No.
express any opinion. That's the fundamental
that's
thing
what-
about a
that's what
democracy.
that we are
Whether you
opposing.
agree
When a
with it or
genocide
not.
of a country is taking
Rahul,
place,
you are
Hang on.
then
absolutely
you
right.
have people like
No,
Anand
at no point
Ranganathan
did
or
Anand
a
say he
people like
supported
Mr.
any kind of
Sinha
genocide.
coming out in social
This is
media
complete
and
fabrication.
criticizing
Okay, one
the
second.
India's
Let me
foreign
get.
policy.
Okay. Now, look, viewers.
Rahul,
The
because my
Congress
name was
wants to
taken.
also exercise discretion over what you say, and they want the Prime Minister to shut you up. If you have a problem with the Maldives, you don't want to spend your hard-earned money in the Maldives. The Congress has a problem with that. I can't understand it. Anyhow, Dr. Ranganathan and Abhijit Iyer Mitra and Suman Siraman, let me bring you all in. Yes, Doctor.
No, just because my name was taken very briefly, Karmuji is a good friend, but as you are absolutely right, in the morning when you saw his thing, he doesn't make much sense most of the times. He is taking my name as if to say that just because somebody is tweeting anti-Israel, I said that he is anti-Hindu. No, I gave the description of the timeline of some of those ministers. They are blatantly pro-Hamas, anti-Israel, and their tweets against Narendra Modi and against India are blatantly Hindu-phobic. I hope he can, comprehend the three things.
Okay.
Yes.
Abhijit Iyer Mitra and Dr. Raman, let me bring both of you into this. Abhijit Iyer Mitra, why is there such a backlash against ordinary Indians exercising their veto? That's all I'm asking. What is the reason for it?
Look, this is basically, anything that Modi does, he's very masterful at this. Anything he does, tomorrow if he sips orange juice, it will be a pineapple juice genocide. Tomorrow if he sips apple juice, it will become a orange juice genocide. They see genocide where none exists. And, where actual genocidal acts are carried out, like, for example, Hamas coming into Israel and torture, killing people, that will never be genocide for them. That will be liberation. But let's leave that aside. You see, the problem with countries like Maldives, and this is, it's kind of known as the Mexico syndrome in America, that when you have a very big neighbor, everybody around you hates you and they love you in equal measure. So everyone around China equally loves China and they hate China. Everybody around America loves America and they hate America. It's the same with India. There's nothing we can do. There is no foreign policy debacle. If you remember, Rahul, there was a prime minister of Bangladesh called Khalida Zia who used to keep railing against India, used to have Indian soldiers killed, used to have Indian paramilitary forces killed, and then, claimed that India was behind her husband's assassination and all this kind of nonsense. And then when Sheikh Hasina used to come, and now who keeps winning the elections over and over again? Sheikh Hasina. Why? Because she did not resort to demagoguery. This is the problem of every demagogue, and Muizu is a classic demagogue. He's not now able to deliver on all his big promises. And so who is the fall guy? Who is the patsy for all of this? India is. And this is our cross. We have to bear it like Jesus died on the cross for mankind. India has to keep suffering multiple crucifixions for, Muizu's failings and things like that. Number one. Second problem, Rahul, we need to be very clear. We shouldn't blame the whole of the Maldives for this. It is just a few ministers, and this is what happens when you get roadside dafli-walas who are qualified only to do dafli beating and, slogan chanting on the road to become ministers. What are these 25, 30-year-old girls and boys who suddenly deem themselves ministers of some government somewhere? Bhai, yahi hoga na? So there's nothing you can do about that. Let's not take these people very seriously. Third, gratitude is a very, very heavy burden to carry. We should never keep needling that point onto the Maldivians because, when you take something from someone, you feel a bit of, your pride takes a bit of a prick. So let's not labor that point. But, even coming back, Mexico, take for example, even they have derogatory words for America. They call Americans gringos. Which is a derogatory word for a white Christian Protestant man and things like that. We shouldn't take this to heart. However, I want to come to Kamru's point. What is ecologically sensitive about shifting the High Court from Kerala High Court to Karnataka High Court? I really want to know the ecological connection between High Courts and this. I have been to both Lakshadweep and to the Andamans, and let me tell you, I went on a ship called the Tipu Sultan. This was with my mother about some 20 odd years back. And what happened was we were going to go to 3 islands, Kavaratti, Kadmat and Minicoy. And Minicoy was to be the last of those trips. Now what had happened was on Minicoy somebody had died And so the entire trip was diverted just for a whole ship to go to Minicoy to pick up a corpse and come back. This was the kind of communications and integration that they had with the rest of the country at that point of time, which was next to nothing. It was 2 ships coming every week, and that was the extent. The only other thing was, this thing going to Bangaram Island, this seaplane going to Bangaram Island, which was insanely expensive.
Right.
Nobody could afford it, right? So Congress did nothing. Let me also bring about 2 other points. They don't want alcohol being served out there. They want beef. Now, I can tell you, because I went during Congress rule some 20, 30 years back, I never saw beef on the menu anywhere. Even chicken used to be extremely rare. The only thing you really used to get out there was fish, different kinds of fish in different forms. Dried fish, fresh fish.
Well, that's why
seafood,
Rajiv Gandhi took chickens when he visited.
That's why he had to take chicken. Yeah. So this nonsense about beef being out there, Rahul, is just complete and utter hogwash. I actually read something called a respectable paper saying beef is part of our culture. If beef is part of our culture, Rahul, then I suggest I have a whole lock of hair more significantly dense than Kamru's lock of hair. And alcohol is very important for tourism. Whether you like it or not, there is a reason some of our politicians keep going to Bangkok.
That's
it
true.
Certainly isn't for the beef. It's mostly for the alcohol available out there.
Okay, well, I hope.
It's not for the alcohol.
Let me bring in Dr. Aman. Dr. Aman, look, have Indians done anything wrong by basically deciding to float a hashtag saying boycott Maldives or hashtag explore Indian islands because they find that the Maldivian ministers have been extremely undignified, derogatory towards India? Anything wrong?
Okay. Rahul, before I get into that, let me say that today there has been a very historic judgment from the Supreme Court in the Bilkis Banu case. And where a state government has been indicted, instead of debating and discussing that and questioning the government, we are doing this particular topic. Anyway, that's besides.
I'm doing that, by the way, in the next 3 minutes. If you wind up now, I'll move to it right now.
Okay, now.
If you actually don't say a word more right now, I'll go to that debate. I'm only waiting for you. I'm supposed to go there at 7:30. Now, viewers, apart from telling you what you should be tweeting, they're also going to tell the anchor what we should be debating. So, I mean, there is no end to this. But no, hang on. No, one minute, Dr. Raman. No, you asked for it. Now you asked for it. I'm sorry. Now you asked for it.
Congress MLA.
No, now he's asked for it. So I'm going to move to the Bilkis Bano debate. I'm not going to wait now.
Rahul, before you do that, Rahul, you did not ask Dr. Sumant Raman whether he commented on the Congress MLA who's been sacked for having alleged sexual relations with the children.
Underage people.
Yes.
Not just underage.
Yeah.
All political parties have their share of black sheep.
No, hang on, just a minute. Now I want to move to the Bilkis debate. Why, viewers? Because Dr. Raman is offended that we are discussing an important issue. No, 1 second. We are discussing an important national. I want to. No. You are getting into whataboutery. Why were you dropping? Why were you trying to divert attention from a straight? You didn't have a response.
Comparing the Bilkis Bano rapist to a Congress MLA, both are criminals.
1 minute.
But nobody garlanded
Another lie.
Bilkis Bano rapist.
No, I'm now sorry. You see, I can't be delayed on this. 7:30 viewers. I am transiting right now. It is by my watch 7:31. I'm sorry, Dr. Raman, but I'm going to now talk about the Supreme Court. Let's talk about it. And I hope you are going to be there. You be there and let's talk about it.